Okay, so yesterday we got our win state going on, which was we make a whole road. Clicking will not place any stone, and clicking will not move any stone, and it'll just say white wins until we hit enter, or black wins if black won. But now we want to add a sort of score so that we can do a best of 3. So in TAC, the way it works is at the end of the game, if you have basically every stone on the board that counts as a road is a point. So we want to write a function that'll cycle through all the occupants in our grid for both colors, stack controls, and we're going to be saying, hey, if the topmost stone is your color, not a standing stone, then we're going to go ahead and give you a point for every point on the board, every space on the board. So if we look at our occupant class, now we've got, basically we want stack control, and you know what, this is a little tricky to call because we have to somehow get the topmost entity of our occupant. So in our 2D array called grid is 1 through 5, you know, the grid of 5 by 5. So it's there's an occupant in every one of those grid spaces, and each occupant has 14 members. So we need a way to kind of say, oopsie. We need a way to kind of say that we want to do what? How do we ask? Actually, okay. There's a thing we can do, which is, since we have to populate each one of our occupants with 14 members, and those members start off as nil, let me show you what that means. If we go to our members table, you know, right here, we've got our max stone height right here is 14, I believe, which means we're giving ourselves 14 nil members at that grid's X and Y location. So basically, let's take a look at what our first 2 parameters in our member actually is. I don't think we have our member. Yeah, we do not. I'm going to go ahead and add our member here to our harpoon, which would be in right here. So leader A gets it into our harpoon, and we can say first 2 parameters is stone color, stone type. So basically what we're going to do is, once there's a win, we're going to go ahead, no matter what win it is, we're going to go ahead and cycle through all the occupants in our grid. And we're going to start at the highest member, start at 14. Now, if 14 is not nil, we're going to ask its stone type, and if it's not a standing stone, then whatever color it goes to is whatever color we need to increment our score count for. So we need a couple of variables, and we need a couple of functions to kind of pull this off. So what does this look like? How about we go to where we do the win in our win detect. Yeah, okay, well, I don't know where to put it then. It's almost like in our win detect, we want to say, hey, by the way, if one of those is a true now, after this whole thing is over, if white wins or black wins, then we want to say we want to run those functions that we're going to do, which is white tally. What do we call that? White score. What do we want to do? This is going to be where we put that function we're about to write. White score. We're going to run the function white score, and we're going to run the function black score. And hopefully this function that we're about to write, hopefully that function updates variables called white and black score. We'll probably name them something different than the function itself, because we've had problems and issues in the past when we haven't done that. So we'll ask, or we'll give ourselves some variables where in the play state. Probably give ourselves variables in the play state to keep track of those variables here. So like we're gonna say, we'll just call it white points gets 0 and black points gets 0. Now there's two ways I see of going about this, in the sense of when we update this. We can either fill out the amount of points as we place stones and as we move stones, or we can calculate points only upon a win, which that's the one I'm kind of leaning towards. I feel like that's probably less bug prone, but I really don't know. But anyways, we've got two new variables here in our play state, white points and black points. They're both integers, and we're going to be modifying those variables in our functions that we have yet to write. And those functions will need to go be right before our win detect, I would think. So if we give ourselves two new functions here, one function, oopsie, not what I wanted. Give ourselves two functions. One is called white score, and the other is called black score. Now they take in no arguments, but they need to do a similar thing. Thinking of a way we can do this in one function. I'm wanting to just write one function called score that'll tally up both of those values. Maybe we call it scoreUpdate, or well, the thing is we need multiple scores. So we'll probably end up with a game 1 score, game 1 and game 2 score and that sort of thing, but we'll call it score. Score update is what we're calling our function. Now we don't need two of these here. We just want our one score update. It'll take in no arguments, but it will. We need to, update our. Come on, dude. What do we need to do? Cycle through all grids, and then if valid white point increment, and if valid black point increment, right? Now, that's all we have to do, because the score update is only running if there is a win detect in our win detect function. So if we in fact have a winner, we're going to run our score update. Our score update will, in pseudocode, cycle through all the grids. Then if it's for every grid, if it's a valid white point, increment our white points. If it's valid black point, increment our black points. And then at the end of that, we'd probably want to store that in whatever current game it is value, because black points can be a different value in game 1 as they are in game 2. Same with white, so we'll have to do that at some point. But let's go ahead and try to do this in try to build out our pseudocode here. So we know we need a nested for loop, so we'll say for I gets 1, comma 5, do. And then we're going to say for j gets 1, comma 5, do. And we're going to say what? Now here's the thing where we have to cycle through in order for us to find, we only really care about what the topmost stone is, if there even is one. So like we want to say if the stone type does not equal nil, well, no, so we got to cycle through all the grids, but we actually have to cycle through every member in every grid. So I'm going to say for k gets 14 because that's our max stone height. We're going to do see, and we want k to be 14. We want it to go until it hits 1, but we want it to be a -1 increment. Is that right? So 14 counting down to 1 with a -1 increment. That means if we access k, it'll start at our 14th member, which is our topmost member. And we're going to say, they're all nil until they get populated. So we're going to say, hey, if it's nil, skip it. If it's not nil, whose color is it? Or if it's not nil, is it a standing stone? Skip it if it is. If it's not a standing stone and it's not nil, then whose color is it? And it's not a standing stone, not nil, then whose color is it? And that's the point we need to increment for that grid, and then we need to move on. So I want to say something like if grid at our I, Jesus, man, I, J. We're gonna say if that dot members at the index of K if that field of stone color or stone, let's go with stone type. If that stone type does not equal nil, we're going to actually do something. So if it's not nil, then we're going to go ahead and do something. But we want to make sure it's not only, well, if it's and the grid at ij. Now we're trying to access the occupant, not the members field, so we're trying to say stone type right here, no? No, so, okay, hold on, I'm getting confused now. Stone type is not a members field, is it? No. Wait, yes it is. Stone type of the member. Okay. So then does our occupant class not have a stone type? It's got a stone control. So we can ask the stone control here. So we can ask stone control here. So it needs to be not a nil and the control, stack control, no. What is it that is the type? Stack control or stone control. Stack control is the color, stone control is the type of stone. So stone control that is not equal to that of a standing stone. Okay, so our topmost stone type would have to be not nil, meaning it has to be something, and our grid stone control has to not be equal to a standing stone. And if both of those are true, then we're going to go ahead and increment the correct color. So we need to say something like if the grid, or we would take, what do we do? If grid at this current space, at the members, actually it's a stone stack control, because we would have stack control at that point. If stack control is equal to white, then we would increment white points, and then we would say else if grid ij dot stack control is equal to black, then we're going to increment our black points. So here we'll say white points gets itself incremented by 1, just like how black points gets incremented by 1 if the stack control is black. So that might increment our points. So on our next debugging page, why don't we go ahead and print up white and black points? I'm gonna add an else if right here that says if love.keyboard dot is down for 5, then we're going to go ahead set our debug option to 5, and then we're going to go ahead and say else debug option gets cool. Now we're going to actually print this up on debug option 5. So if we go to the bottom here, let's find our debug 5. Let's take the top 2 lines of our debug so that we can put in the correct values. We want to see white points and black points. So we say white points and black points. And then we want to change this to be, how do you delete what's in parentheses? You could just say delete, not up to cache, but I don't know how to delete what's in the parentheses. I need to learn how to do that. White points. We're trying to print up white points converted to a string. Okay, and then we need black points. So now we should be able to test whether or not we're running this. Now if we take a look at our score update, and when we actually run it in our win detect. So whenever we ask for a win, if there actually is a win in our win detect, we're gonna run our score update, which will update those booleans, and we'll see if that's working. So we've got white points, black points, both equal to 0. And then once a win is triggered, it counted up 5 white and 4 black, which is correct. So we might have done good. We might have done it. Now let's see if we've got, a capstone on board, a couple of standing stones, and so at this point, white should have 5 points and black should have 3. By the time we win, actually white will have 5 points and black will have 3 if we did it right. White is 5, black is 3. It looks like we're doing it right. So we've got a score, a game 1 score value. So now the idea for this is to say at the end of a white wins, like when it says white wins or black wins, we want, instead of the debugging info over here, we want to print up game 1, white 1 or something. I don't know how to put it. Like we say game 1, white wins, and then say white score, black score. Something like that. we can have either like a table or a not like a Punnett square, but like a like a table. Just says like, you know, white, black, and then maybe they just get a no. It needs to carry their score over, because the best of 3 would be counting all of the rows, all the points. So even though white, so like white 1 here, that puts white 2 points ahead of black, because black only had control over 3 spaces. So if you were going for not a best game, but a best of 3 games, you could do it this way, where you count by the score instead of count by the win, because the person who goes first has a slight advantage. So I guess that would mean you could either do a best of 2 or best of 4, but I'm trying to think of how to make it even with that advantage, because the whole idea behind that advantage is you would swap who goes first on the next game, and then continue to play. So maybe I don't know what to do. I'm kind of thinking we just have a master tally, and we don't really care about how many games are won. Well, we should show what game is won. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out how I want it to look and what information we want on screen, because there's also more information on screen by the time we turn on our debugging again, not our debugging, our instructions. So if I go here, and actually I'm gonna put a way to turn off all of our debugging here, and we can actually toggle it off right here. And now that our debugging is toggled off, we can turn on our instructions, which is where? Instructions right here. So we didn't save it. Okay. So yeah, we've got our instructions here. Arrow up or down to select the amount of stones that go into place. So see, we've got these instructions here, and we don't want to clog these up with once there's scores on there, because then you can't be able to read. So what do we do? We'll have to figure out where we want our scores. Maybe we could do something like this, because for our help state right now, we have H toggling this as a kind of giving us rules, but do we want to have our score something similar, where we can pull it up and then we don't have to worry about instructions, or we put the points here and then we have instructions as toggleable, in case you don't know what to do, because if you know how to play the game, you shouldn't have to deal with looking at the instructions all the time. So maybe we will do maybe we will do something like that. So I'm going to make our instructions toggleable by pressing I or something for instructions. And then we'll instead, I'll also be, I don't know. I want to find a better font than something like that. I want it to kind of look nice. Like, I like TAC, how it looks, but it's not a very good font for this sort of stuff. So I'm gonna find another font for that, and then I'm gonna figure out what sort of data we want to be carried over through new games. So we'll obviously need to kind of count how many games have been played, and then we'll need to count or keep track of who won which game, and then count how many points each person won in that game, so that we would have a total tally, so that after they play, if they played 6 games or whatever, that they can see the result of the control stones at the end of 6 games to determine a win that way, in case it's different than a who won the most games sort of deal. Or if it's a tie, then you can count by the stones too. So yeah, we're coming up on the home stretch. We did get, I turned it off, but we did get our points working today. So if we hold 5, we'll see our points. And I'm going to turn off our potential road vertical render. So we don't have to look at that. That should be in our occupant, vertical road, render, potential road, vertical. Okay, yeah, actually, so we'll leave it there, but we'll go to where we actually render it, and we'll say not to do it right there. We'll just turn it off right here. Okay. Okay, so now we've got points, and we've got yeah, we've got those turned off. So now it's just we're waiting on finalizing the points and that game count system. So I've got to go here soon, so I'm gonna call it a day. And actually, we've got a empty tab space. Now, I'm gonna go real quick to my email because I sent myself a link for Packer that will do this. So now that we've got this Packer instruction, we can actually go into our Packer where is, nope, we don't have it. It's here, Packer. Now we're gonna paste our install. We're gonna source this. This is gonna highlight those empty white spaces in Vim so we can toggle them, we can track them down in Vim and not in Git. So I'm gonna run a Packer sync. And then it's gonna fail on Rosepine, but that's okay. And then it looks like it worked. We're gonna do our colors, and then we're gonna say, actually, might need to quit. We might need to quit Vim. So look at this on cycle through all grids in our score update. So if we go to our score update, we can see if it worked or not. Well, there we go. So look at all these white spaces that we have to fix. So I blame Vim for that because I hit tab instead of escape sometimes. But let's just go through and delete it. So we'll say delete. What's the best way to do this? Cache goes to the end of the line, and we can delete. How do we delete backwards? Delete backwards to the S. I don't remember how to do that. What the? How do you do this? What? Why don't we just hit X on it? Perfect. See all these little white spaces that are hiding in here? There's probably a plugin that just deletes this shit for you. But at least now I'll be able to see it when I make it, and then I can just fix it right away. You know, this is super boring. You're not supposed to watch. This is like a little bit meditative, at least. It's like kind of like cleaning up your room or something. Gotta figure out how to delete backwards. This is so boring. So yeah, something in the way I'm typing Vim just leads to a bunch of these errors that I wasn't aware of. A bunch of these white spaces getting locked in. Wow, hidden white spaces everywhere. I'm sure there's a plugin that just deletes all the white spaces. But we shouldn't have to worry about it because I want to have better Vim hygiene than typing these white spaces on accident. Try to get Tmux working in the next sometime future, because I think that would be cool. I just don't know too much about it just yet. Oh my god. Oi, what? How is this? Whatever. Okay. Yuck. But now we're done. So now if we exit Vim, we run a git diff. We can see what we did. Wow. Okay, well, fixing all those white spaces kind of screwed up our git diff, but if we go to our first git diff, I'll walk through what we did today. And we can't, so whatever. We've got black points and white points now working in our score update function. So we'll go ahead and git commit all that with a message saying added score date function to both player scores to count player scores upon a win. Okay, so tomorrow I'll be brainstorming, probably off stream, brainstorming what things on screen we need to render. For our points. So for either for how many games have been played, who won those games, what were the points for those games, that sort of thing. So I'll figure out what that might look like and then decide if we want to factor out the instructions, which I think we do. I think we can leave them on and you can toggle them off. So we just need to make sure that they don't overwrite any potential score readouts. I don't know, but we're getting so close to being able to test this more thoroughly and then find out if we need to change anything. And then we're done. I mean, then we can polish it up and then we're done. Yeah. So yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow and we'll do that.